the last few episodes of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have been emotional, to say the least, for Erika Jayne. And the one this week, I gotta say, if you haven't watched yet, I'm going to talk about this episode, just putting that out there. If you care about that, I will be discussing what happened on Wednesday's night episode. Erika, and the episode before that, she broke down to Kyle. Tears, dramatic, like the mascara running down her face. Like, it seemed raw, emotional, real. And then we get to this dinner. And Erika tells the ladies, that she's happy. Not happy, but like, it was encouraging that Tom's lawyers had filed for like a mental health like check because they were worried about what he was really comprehending and whatnot. And she was like, that's, what I've been noticing for a while now. Basically saying that, she saw him deteriorating and he would not do anything. They just had like a very bizarre power dynamic in their relationship, clearly, where she felt she had to divorce him. She couldn't get him to, go to the doctor, things like that. So that happens. And then she's telling the women, she's like, oh, remember Tom's car accident from a few years ago. They played the clip, 2017, of Erika with Kyle being like, oh, Tom got into an accident and broke his ankle. Mm-hmm. Like, totally played it off as not a big deal, like, little accident, broke his ankle, but he's okay. She then goes on to say that, yes, Tom was in a car accident. Yes, Tom broke his ankle. Tom also had a shoulder, collarbone. He was unconscious for 12 hours. 12 hours. The ladies are floored. Cannot believe that this is what they're hearing. It was very hard to follow because then she tries to do like a legitimate, like almost like a hand showing of like the switchbacks behind their house and like saying where he was, because the way she was delivering it, it was just like unbelievable sentence after the next. It's right. She goes, unconscious for 12 hours. And then they're like, oh my God, like who found him? She's like, me. It's like, oh my God, you found him unconscious in the car? Didn't find him unconscious in the car. Found him on the side of the road. Found him on the side of the road. Was he ejected from the car?
This is why I have trouble believing anything really Erika Jayne is saying about the situation now, because if she was able to hide so much then,
I know,
that means she was hiding so many other things that
She's
nobody
very
knows
good at
about.
hiding things.
Very good. And I will also say, maybe she's throwing out all these stories about Tom because she doesn't want to be involved in any of the shit that's happening.
Yeah.
So now she's just like, oh, Tom was terrible to me. And like, he probably was. Yeah. But at the same time, like, she's caught in a messy situation.
I'm so torn now. And it is because I am very gullible when it comes to this stuff. And like watching her, I just like, it's hard for me to imagine that all this emotion is fake. So I'm just like, is she finally breaking down and feeling like she can actually shit on Tom because she's out of this marriage? But it just continued to go where she then said, I thought he was gone for a while. I thought, he was with another woman. And they're all like, what? Like, what's just one thing after another? And
why was anyone so shocked by that, though?
So they weren't. Because some of them were, but like Kyle was the one to say, she didn't want to like pile on, but she was like, I will say that I have, heard things before. And everyone was like, yeah, and Erika made it seem like she knew that, and it was not like a hush hush thing.
Right.
She said that a few years back when Yolanda divorced David Foster, it kind of made Erika rethink some things, and she went into Tom's phone, saw tons of messages, pictures. He's with these other women. And so it's just like, it's been happening for years. And they were like, oh, why didn't you leave? And she's like, where was I going to go? Like, it was just like her whole life was, was controlled by him. And he just like dismissed her so much, where it's I don't know. Like I said, I am very confused. The women clearly believe her at this moment. Now, the previews for the upcoming episodes, the coming attractions, did make it seem like as more came out, I think, and more was exposed in the press, that some of the women were kind of doubting the truth. And I think maybe the husbands were getting involved a little bit. Like, there's a clip of Mauricio, like, kind of being like, I mean, come on. Like, now all this stuff now. So, I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard for me to tell. I do think at some level she did not know. And now I only say, I think she knew something shady was going on, but just turned a blind eye from it.
I think that she probably had a feeling. She maybe didn't know every single detail. There's actually no way she knew every single detail. The way she describes
Tom, it's like Tom did not talk to her about his life.
I feel like they both were hiding things from each other.
Yeah.
Because there was also those rumors about Scooter Braun and Erika Jayne, which we're not even going to entertain, but just throwing that out there. Obviously. But I think they were both hiding things from each other, because think about it. He was a lot older than her.
Yeah, for sure.
And she's a good-looking woman.
They're married for 20 years, but I think that their relationship when she was 28 and met him compared to 48 at the success that she's had is very different. And she talked about how it felt like Tom really started to resent her for having like any of her own fame and success and money and like being able to be in the world on her own. Like, she talked about how she didn't really tell anyone about Tom not showing up to see her in Chicago and when she was on Broadway. Like, it was just because he didn't go. Like, he was just like not there. You know, like there wasn't like a good reason for it. He just didn't go.
And that's why none of this really surprises me.
Yeah, it's just the dynamic of their relationship, though, makes me now feel like Tom didn't tell Erika anything, like, about his business, like on his day-to-day, like what his cases looked like. I don't think she knew what that was.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
I have a feeling she knew a little bit about what he did with those cases, but not to a full extent.
Right.
Or maybe she didn't know at all. We really will never know. But I'm
so torn now. The show is completely changed. Like, the show, it's just what happens to me every time. The show has like kind of made me think differently. I don't know. But maybe it'll change again when all the women start to not believe her.
Who knows?